We flew first to Iceland, on to Oslo, Norway, then caught an SAS plane north past the Arctic Circle to Tromsø.
We started riding at Tromsø in the north and headed south through a string of islands. Along the way we needed many ferry rides and went through a total of almost 10 kilometers of tunnels. When we reached our southern terminus of Hemmingsfjord, we went back up to Svalbard and across by ferry to Skjutvik. At Skjutvik we rode back north up to Harstad where we caught a fast 60 km/h ferry back to Tromsø.
We suspected that it would be light out when we arrived at Tromsø at midnight. But it was still amazing to see. Smart Hotel in Tromsø proved an excellent choice for us cyclists. They provided a large and secure indoor room with bike racks for working on our bikes and for storing them overnight.
Once we got our bikes assembled we went out for 2 short rides to the north and south of Tromsø. We planned to have a couple days off to explore the Tromsø area by foot and on bike. We did a ride to the north and to the south of the city. Both rides were along large waterways.
One note about the bridge that heads east from downtown Tromsø. If you are walking, use the south sidewalk. If you are bike riding, use the north path over the bridge.
People in Norway are active. They do not just sit around. Well, they at least all look good while sitting around.
Although we were north of the Arctic Circle at Tromsø, this area experiences the warming influence of the Gulf Stream.
While planning our trip, we found that it was necessary to book all our accommodation for the full 3.5 weeks. This is something we never do. As well, statistically, the climate of Tromsø predicted that we might have cold rainy days for 2 days per week. There are a limited amount of towns and accommodation. Therefore we made a less than ambitious schedule with shorter days to allow for inclement weather. But after all, it turned out that the extent of the inclement weather was 1.5 days of drizzle over the entire 3.5 weeks. So we enjoyed our shorter rides and did not have to push it hard to make the planned stops. I am including a map for each day of riding so that if you are interested in touring here, it will save you time in scouting out a route and knowing where to stop overnight. In the middle of this first day of our tour, we crossed a hill that was a gentle 100-meter climb. From this high vantage point, the views were spectacular. At about the 52-kilometer mark we came to our dreaded first tunnel. It was short and easy, though was a bit frightening when cars passed in the tunnel.
Arriving at the Hotel Samroy, it was obvious they hosted frequent bike tours. We were allowed to place our expensive bikes indoors. Other organized tour people parked their rented bikes outdoors.
We met a young Norwegian mother and her child. She was very friendly and told us much about Norway. After doubling back a short way on yesterday's route, we caught an early morning ferry boat at Bronsholmen over to Bottenham. This was an easy touring method of starting out the day. The black lines on the altitude profile show the path through tunnels.
A little fishing boat served as our breakfast buffet on the second morning. Tom feasted on helpings of smoked salmon at almost every breakfast. On our first ferry crossing we met a group of organized tour riders. That might have been one reason hotels were booked up.
Over 700 kilometers. I only counted a total of 6 beer cans along the roadside. We never had to dodge pieces of glass.
Considering that Norway roads have as much frost as we do, the roads were in excellent condition. Over the course of over 3 weeks, we never had one flat tire. I was happy that I only used 28C wide tires.
I estimate that we did a total of 10 kilometers of riding inside tunnels. It was a bit scary at first when cars passed. We had to use good lights front and rear. While you are bike touring in Norway, If you wanted to take a series of interval photos to show the sunset and the sunrise, the town of Ondenus is the best place to do this. It has a wide clear vista from the bay towards the north. The organized Travel Norway bike tour takes 2 days to cover this section, stopping overnight in Ham. There are over 5 kilometers of tunnels. While they are a bit frightening, they are safer if you have good lighting as we did. On the plus side, tunnels take you out of the wind and possible rain.
We were riding on a chain of islands connected together by safe and dependable ferries. Cyclists go to the front of the line and are usually the first on and first off of ferries. At times cars might have to wait for a second crossing to get on.
The Wi-Fi available at the hotels was always fast and dependable. The sun set around 10:30 at night, and after skimming along below the horizon, rose at about 2:30 or 3 a.m. During this time it is bright enough to ride without lighting, although we always use a rear flashing light. This day riding down through the village of Nos featured very few hills and the road had almost no car tourist traffic. We had first planned to stop at a popular place for cyclists called Motkroken, but they were booked almost 5 months ahead. The Norway Fjords Center has camping available as well as the small cabins which we had. On some days we're in and out of tunnels 4 times.
We had our own cabin with a sod roof at the Free Love Center. It cost us about $400 Canadian for 1 night, 2 dinners and 2 breakfasts.
I did not expect that I could follow my hobby of picking berries this far north. However, at a breakfast buffet we discovered cloudberry preserves. Then along the road I found cloudberries here or there. They are fully ripe when they turn golden orange. Perhaps the flattest and easiest day of riding on our entire tour. Just before the bustling town of Sortland you must cross a bridge that is over 1 kilometer in length. The scenery was absolutely incredible. Shirley described it as being a combination of coastal scenery with plenty of mountains in between the coastal towns. Like Nova Scotia and British Columbia combined into one.
Patches of pink fireweed grew in many places along the roads. They made impressive foregrounds for many photos.
I'm gonna go see Hamilton.
The drinking water was the best taste of any we have found around the globe. It was always good flavor, clear and cold.
If you follow my route, as opposed to the Bike Norway route of following highway number 82 to Melbu, you will add 42 kilometers of distance and 850 meters of uphill to your day. We weren't the only ones to go this way, we saw many other riders on these less traveled roads. I think the route we chose is becoming the more popular bike route. Our absolute best accommodation for the entire trip was at Melbu Apartments. Here we shared an entire large house with one other couple. At Melbu Apartments we had an outdoor eating area and a complete kitchen. Because of the price of restaurant food, we always tried to book a place that had a kitchen or where at least breakfast was included.
Everyone was very friendly and helpful all across Norway. Erling was over 90, yet he did a day hike up a mountain.
On our day off at Melbu we did a morning hike. There were sheep in the pasture where we hiked. From the top we had a huge panorama of the road on which we rode into Melbu. About the only type of farming that we saw in these Norway islands was sheep farms. Beginning the day with a beautiful ferry ride in Melbu, we again eschewed the popular route and went through Stromness. The incredible views from the fjord shores was worth the extra travel distance since Highway 82 through Lopstad is busy.
After Melbu we felt that we were getting into the beautiful Lofoten Islands. The best views were often from a ferry boat.
While it is only a short distance from Svalbard to Henningsvær, there is a nice little bump in the middle of the route to make it a bit more challenging. On this ride and many of the other days as well, there is a scarcity of places where you can get water or food. So it is always wise to at least pack sufficient water in the morning.
The southernmost part of our travels, still being north of the Arctic Circle, was the very touristy towns of Svalbard and Henningsvær.
Beginning with a ferry ride at Svalbard, this is more of a day of a ferry ride than a bike ride. But you do get on the bike at Kjøtvik, so at least get some exercise during the day. In fact, for being on the bike for only 22 kilometers, getting nearly 300 meters of uphill with your touring bags is a decent workout. At Svalbard we got onto a ferry boat and left the Lofoten's tourist isles. We headed inland to the town of Kjøtvik. Leaving Kjøtvik after the car traffic was gone, we began our turn north, back towards our start at Tromsø. North from the town of Kjøtvik we found more a mixture of farms and small towns, and less fishing and tourist places. The terrain is gently rolling through tall pine forests. If you're as lucky as we were, you will get your 37 odd kilometers of riding done and roll straight onto the ferry at Bognes as we did. At the Brygge Hotel in Luttingen, our room faced north and overlooked the bay. Riding along ahead of Shirley, I heard her scream at me to come back. Amazingly, she did not scare away two very large reindeer along the road. I was able to get a series of interval photos of the rising sun. I set up the camera to start at 3 a.m. and it took a photo every 10 seconds. For a fun day off activity at Luttingen, We left at 2:30 in the morning on a day ride. We crossed a major hill, then came back over it on the way back. I thought that I would be bored of riding along fjords by this time. With the continuous up and down along the shore of this picturesque arm of Norway Fjord, I just wanted more. Then the route flattens out for a while, but within view of the bridge to Evenskjer, near the 50k point, we encountered the 10 to 15% final grade leading to the bridge entrance. The bridge is rideable, having a reasonable shoulder path, but watch out for rough expansion joints along this shoulder. After a much quieter early morning ride over the bridge from Evenskjer, for a short time we followed along the Fjorden Fjord on Highway 83. Soon the route goes along some of the most picturesque small fishing villages over paved backroads in Harstad municipality. The final few kilometers into bustling Harstad are completed on safe off-road paved paths.
If we were to go back to Norway, I think we would do more riding towards the interior. I loved rolling into the villages on the many bays. Sometimes there were separate bike paths off the roads. But mainly, the roads were at times narrow. However, due to the small islands connected by ferry service, the traffic came in bunches which we could wait out.
Harstad does their dirty laundry in public view. If you are going to catch a sunrise or sunset, you need to know, during the middle of July and early August, the sun sets roughly at 30 degrees to the west of north and rises approximately to 30 degrees to the east of north.
Tromsø was a big surprise for us. We never expected it was such a bustling town. In celebration, we went out for a terrific meal of Indian food. But after 25 days or more of going from place to place, we were happy to again head home. Tom and I hope you enjoyed watching our Norway video. Hope you get to go ride there someday. Our Iceland air flight stopped at Reykjavik in Iceland. Then on to Oslo, where we had to claim our bikes and book them back into SAS airline for the flight up to Tromsø. On the way home, the airlines transferred our bikes for us.